The U.S. has been rocked by yet another mass shooting, this time at a Walmart in the state of Texas, with at least 20 people losing their lives. Police have apprehended the lone gunman, who is being reported to be a 21-year-old white male. The Walmart store was packed with parents buying school materials for the upcoming school session in the U.S. Today, after a series of explosions rocked Bangkok, injuring at least 4 people, CCTV footage from Bangkok Mall has emerged, which shows the exact moment the bomb went off. The device was apparently hidden inside a stuffed toy. Footage shows explosion at a mall, which is minutes away from the summit venue. The blast occurred on the early hours of Friday morning. Footage shows a fire and a swirl of smoke as the store's sprinkler system gets activated. Iran will be taking a third step to reduce its enrichment commitments to the landmark 2015 nuclear deal. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has said that if foreign powers do not abide by the deal completely, Tehran will also quote-unquote implement the deal in an incomplete manner. Just last month, Iran had threatened to restart deactivated centrifuges and ramp up enrichment of uranium to 20%. Finally, some good news for northwest province of Syria. Residents have a breath of relief after the recently imposed ceasefire in the rebel-held area. This comes after 3 months of continuous army offences that have killed hundreds. In order to regain power, more than 400 civilians have been killed in the span of 5 months, and more than 400,000 people were displaced from their homes. Residents of the area are grateful to return to their homes just before Eid al-Adha celebrations. Russian police forcibly detained nearly 800 people attending a protest in Moscow. The protesters were demanding free elections. Authorities have warned that the demonstrations was illegal. Eyewitnesses say that police were beating protesters with batons as they lay on the floor. In one case, police carried off a man as he clung upside down to his bicycle. Police said that they had detained 600 and said 1,500 had attended the protest. Police fired tear gas at protesters in the French city of Nantes. This as skirmishes broke out in the fringes of a demonstration while tributes were paid to a young concert goer who drowned in the western French city. The body of 24-year-old Steve Canico was found in the river on Tuesday, 38 days after a run-in between police and late-night revelers by the riverbank. Tributes to Canico earlier the day coincided with calls for a broader march to denounce police brutality, attended by several hundred people. Protesters wearing bandanas and masks used chairs to erect barricades in the square and set fire to a pile of debris as they squared up to police. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and newly elected Defense Secretary visited the New South Wales Parliament. They were welcomed by their Australian counterparts. The head of the department raised global and regional issues. This comes just ahead of the planned meeting between the U.S. and Australia's ministerial consultations. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has rejected U.S. President Trump's statement about a possible blockade of the South American country. Maduro also added that Venezuela's seas would remain free and independent. Maduro said that he had asked Venezuela's ambassador to the UN, Samuel Moncada, to denounce the legal threat to the UN Security Council. Maduro has accused the U.S. of human rights violations and stealing the Venezuelan election last year. Trade tensions between South Korea and Japan continue to simmer. Hundreds of South Koreans held a candlelight rally on Saturday to protest against Japan's decision to remove South Korea from its easy trade list, so-called white list. The South Korean Prime Minister has condemned Japan's decision to strike it off its preferential trade list. Yesterday, Japan removed South Korea from its export white list. This implies that South Korean exports to Japan now require additional screening to make sure they are not used for weapons and military applications. The new restrictions come into effect on August 28th. Chinese President Xi Jinping has pledged to fully eradicate poverty in the country by the year 2020. The nation has spearheaded drives targeting the truly needy across the country by tailoring solutions to lift millions out of destitution. It was in 2013 that General Secretary Xi Jinping proposed the concept of targeted poverty alleviation.
Mountains in Chongqing.
12 people were ordered to undergo testing for a possible Ebola infection in Goma in Congo only days after 3 patients in the densely populated city tested positive for the disease. The Democratic Republic of Congo is battling the second largest Ebola outbreak in history. Ebola has killed over 1,800 people over the past year. According to the World Health Organization, it is the second worst outbreak on record. Wildfires in Siberia and Russia's Far East continue to blaze, caused by hot, dry weather. Fires are spreading by high winds. Russia's Aerial Forest Protection Service has been fighting the blaze from the air, while hundreds more firefighters and emergency workers are tackling the fires on the ground. Iraq's Yazidi community is marking the 5th anniversary of the onslaught of violence on their community. In August of 2014, ISIS fighters laid siege on Iraq's Mount Sinjar area and brutally executed hundreds of Yazidis. Thousands of Yazidi men were shot and women and children captured. According to authorities, more than 6,400 Yazidis were abducted and only half of them were able to flee or be rescued, while the fate of the others remain unknown. Another 100,000 fled abroad. British Royal Air Force helicopters and emergency services are battling to stop a reservoir dam in central England from collapsing, bringing in new pumps to reduce the water levels as more storms were forecast. The dam is holding back 300 million gallons of water in danger of falling and putting lives at risk. Police have evacuated more than 6,000 residents of Whaley Bridge since Thursday. They have been advised to take pets and any medication they need along with them.
Somebody told me anyway, so I popped around.
Flash floods and landslides triggered a tropical storm killed 2 and left 13 others missing in northern Vietnam. In Bangkok province, a landslide killed a woman and injured 2 others as they were driving on a local road. Floods gushing through another village in the province swept away 17 people and their houses, with 4 people having been rescued and the others still missing. Well, the cyclone made landfall in northern province of Quang Ninh on Friday night. It was a weakened to a tropical depression, bringing heavy rains and strong gusts in Vietnam's northern provinces. Hundreds of Indonesians are spending their days in temporary shelters amid fears of tsunami following a 6.2 magnitude earthquake which struck Java Island on Friday. At least 1 person died and several were injured after a powerful undersea earthquake rocked Indonesia's heavily populated Java Island, triggering a brief tsunami warning. A 6.9 magnitude quake on Friday evening sent residents fleeing to higher ground, while many in the capital Jakarta ran into the streets. Monsoon rains continue to wreak havoc in India's financial capital, Mumbai. Continuous rains lashed Mumbai and its surrounding areas on Saturday, and the India Met Department said more heavy rainfall is expected in the city during the next 24 hours. Authorities declared a holiday in schools and colleges. At least 3 people were killed in separate rain-related incidents in the state on Saturday. The IMD cautioned people, saying that heavy rainfall combined with high tides are dangerous for the city. In 1923, Turkey became a model republic. Nearly 96 years, the Eurasian nation has got its first new church. The foundation stone was laid by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan himself in the Istanbul suburb of Yeşilköy. A church will serve 17,000-strong Syrian Christian community, which is also paying for the new building. Erdogan said that he hoped the construction of the church would be completed within 2 years. Erdogan had ordered the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality to find space for the building in 2009 during his stint as the Prime Minister. Thousands of supporters of Northern Ireland's LGBT community, including Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, took to the streets of Belfast for the Pride celebrations. Mr. Varadkar joined thousands of people attending this year's march in the city centre. His presence is being seen as significant as same-sex marriage remains a contentious political issue in Northern Ireland. Tens of thousands of spectators lined the tar path of Amsterdam Canal on Saturday to watch a parade of decorated boats during the Dutch capital's LGBT Pride Festival. Organizers said 80 boats officially took part in the canal parade. The annual parade is the highlight of Pride Amsterdam, which ends on Sunday. The theme of this year's 9-day festival was Remember the Past, Create the Future. Thousands of all-terrain vehicle riders, also known as ATV riders, cruised to the streets of Berlin and New Hampshire. People gathered in 10th annual festival to celebrate the four-wheeled vehicles. Residents of Berlin welcomed the influx of visitors, which boosted the business. This comes at a time when the town's main economy of logging mills is no longer in operation.